Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
Be honest, what do you think comes after death? Was in a severe car accident, coma. It's like going to sleep. You don't realize you're in it until you wake up. If you never wake up, you don't know you're in it. Same, it was like a jump cut. I don't even remember having had breakfast that morning. I just remember waking up in the hospital a few days later. Jump cut is a great description. I was running into the then suddenly it was 6 days later. All I could think was WTF just happened. I have had a few big surgeries. I called it time travel. Dude was telling me to count backwards from 10, and I woke up 8 hours later thinking, welp, guess I made it. Super glad we're all on team wake up. The exact same thing that occurred before birth. Oh shit, that was my favorite time. Can't wait to go back. Hell yeah, brother. Beer mugs. Annihilation has no terrors for me, because I have already tried it before I was born, 100 million years, and I have suffered more in an hour, in this life, than I remember to have suffered in the whole 100 million years put together. Mark Twain. The full quote is also worth a read for folks in this thread. Annihilation has no terrors for me, because I have already tried it before I was born, 100 million years, and I have suffered more in an hour, in this life, than I remember to have suffered in the whole 100 million years put together. There was a peace, a serenity, an absence of all sense of responsibility, an absence of worry, an absence of care, grief, perplexity, and the presence of a deep content and unbroken satisfaction in that 100 million years of holiday which I look back upon with a tender longing and with a grateful desire to resume when the opportunity comes. Non-existence, so nothing. You no longer exist, so you have no conscience. Can't even think, well, that sucks. I still can't handle the idea that I will no longer exist one day. It hits me like a lightning bolt going through me. All I have ever known is existence. To not exist just doesn't make sense, nor does it seem fair. It's not darkness, it's not cold, it's nothing, and you'll never even know it because you cease to exist. How can the world continue without me? Everything will continue moving forward while I will no longer exist. I want to know what is going to happen in the world. I want to know if we continue our space journey. I want to know if we are just going to destroy ourselves before then. I just want to continue to observe and continue to have an inner monologue. I'd honestly be okay with the idea of being a ghost, as at least if get to continue observing and thinking, even if I could never interact with anything again. I had a severe infection earlier this year and lost 40+ pounds in like 4 weeks. I really thought it may be the end for me. I have a 5-year and a 3-year and was like, I simply cannot die, because how is it fair if I can't see my kids grow up and help them through life's troubles? And when I think about it, I feel like I'd feel the same way if I was 85 and they were 60. I want to always be there for my kids and to see them, and maybe grandkids at that point. I can't just be gone. That's why I find the idea of heaven or reincarnation so romantically beautiful. Like, unfortunately, I don't think that's what actually happens, but I wish it were. I don't want to just become nothing. I can tolerate thoughts of my own death and dying, except when it comes to my child. The reality that I will have to leave her on this earth without me is by far my greatest source of grief and panic. I know this is life. I knew this in an intellectual sense when I decided to have a child, but nothing prepares you for your actual heart walking around out in the world. Nothing. Probably the same feeling as when you sleep and don't dream. That's death. Or before you were born. Hey you, you're finally awake. Can't wait to be dragonborn after I die, cold sweat smile. Picture a wave. In the ocean, you can see it, measure it, its height, the way the sunlight refracts when it passes through. And it's there, and you can see it, you know what it is. It's a wave, and then it crashes in the shore and it's gone. But the water is still there. The wave was just a different way for the water to be, for a little while. You know, it's one conception of death for Buddhists. The wave returns to the ocean, where it came from and where it's supposed to be. Quote, so disappointed The Good Place is no longer on Netflix. Such a great show with an incredibly beautiful ending. I bought the DVD set. I noticed the episodes have some more jokes that might have, I assume, been cut for time. It made my 23rd rewatch and subsequent ones better. Does anyone else experiences flashes of panic when they read about the idea of an infinity of nothing? I wish I didn't. I feel like therapy and the other things I've tried are just distractions and haven't brought me peace. Edit, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I just wanted to add that I'm so glad so many people responded to this. One of my favorite authors is Kurt Vonnegut, and his humor about the universe was this coping mechanism of humor and almost nihilism. I know that together we are so royally screwed, but we are in the together despite being separate beings. Something about the warm embrace of our doomed orbits against the indifferent march to death drives me to be more just decent to one another. I hope in service to my fellow being, my candle can burn up rather than burn out. For me the worst part is the inevitability of it. Someday it will come, someday there is a point in life where all of it is over. Seriously scared. I think this is why we're so naturally prone to religion and why nearly every civilization that lasted uses it. I think there's utility to religion, but once the wool has been pulled back, it's impossible to go through the motions of a religious life but not really believe. I've tried. This is why I never bought the classic trope of immortality is a curse and they secretly wish to die, like there's a large chunk of people who would willingly take immortality and just never have to worry about that ever again. Fuck dude, I swear whenever I see these posts I can't help but click into them and I just end up going into panic episodes. Fuck. An absolute law of the universe is that energy is never destroyed, it just changes form. Whether that's reincarnation or something else, I don't know. But something will happen. I just can't begin to know what. This thought process is why I want to be cremated. If there's even a possibility my conscience is put into a sort of stasis, purgatory in my casket, I'd rather be able to choose what sort of energy my conscience is converted to. LMAO. Neil deGrasse Tyson was asked to write something for a young girl who tragically died getting hit by a bus. She was a fan of space and science and was cremated with one of his books. He wrote this: "The curiosity of children famously knows no bounds around the house, the backyard, the neighborhood, any new place. But when that curiosity includes the universe itself, you're in the presence of someone poised to change the world." To lose Annalisa at age 11, brimming with so much cosmic ambition, will forever leave me wondering what she might have accomplished as a grown-up kid. Grown-up kids are scientists, and anybody else who retains their childhood curiosity into adulthood. Of course we will never know the answer to that question. But we do know the physics of cremation. The energy contents of her body, itself reduced to ash, actually enters Earth's atmosphere. It ultimately escapes to space in the form of infrared energy, radiating in all directions at the speed of light, filling the voids of the cosmos with her presence. At the moment I write this, Annalisa's energy has extended 500 billion miles into space, more than 100 times the distance to Pluto. Though she will live in collective memories for all our lives, in the universe she lives for all eternity. Respectfully submitted, Neil deGrasse Tyson, April 3, 2022, New York City. I never knew this about cremation and it stuck with me since I learned about it. I recently had this realization that the person I currently have who would be taking care of my ashes is highly unreliable, and I can visualize ending up at the garbage dump. Not that he'd throw my ashes away on purpose, but I could see him never getting around to bringing me to the beach, year after year, and then die himself. It's crazy. As an atheist I don't even know why it matters to me or why the heck I'm even thinking about it. Tears of joy. It always helped me to believe that heaven exists after death, but heaven to me is whatever brought you peace and joy in life. For example, I love music, so I'd imagine heaven for me to be a house with 2 stories, a bedroom, and a music room for all my instruments. I'd be able to record my music on a computer without the programs ever crashing or the chords ever getting tangled or broken. Essentially, heaven to me is whatever brought the person peace in life, becoming their afterlife. Music is like religion to me. There'll be music in the hereafter too. Jimi Hendrix. Nothing, make good memories in the meantime, but I won't remember them. Other people will. That's the only afterlife there is, in the memories of others, so be good. I honestly think it is probably the same kind of nothing as before you were born, which sounds scary at first but also kind of peaceful when you really sit with it. It might be peaceful when you're actually dead, but not so much when you're alive, conscious, and anticipating it. Perspective is incredible, isn't it? Yes, the act of dying has quite the range from didn't even perceive it happening to the most prolonged intense suffering one can experience, which is why I find it weird so many people have a problem with things like euthanasia. It makes me think they either haven't spent much time around dying people, to be fair we tend to hide that in hospitals in the West, or plainly have no sense of empathy, ability to imagine themselves in a similar situation. Either way, death seems like an incredible relief and release from stress, pressure, expectations, etc. I truly believe that the place we go when we trip hallucinogens like DMT is the same place we go when we die. The soul leaves the body, we experience ego death, and we enter a tunnel of euphoric light. Then we transcend space and time and merge with a cosmic consciousness. This is pretty much what every near-death experience survivor describes, so I don't have much reason to think that's not it. I imagine it kind of like the end of Interstellar when he goes to 5D space. I had an NDE and I was riding a motorbike down a tunnel toward a white light. I've never driven a motorbike. The bike broke down, I got off and was annoyed. I kicked the bike and then looked at the light and then back into the darkness. The light just looked so far away that I decided to turn back toward the darkness and woke up to hospital staff leaning over me and someone saying, "Ah, there he is. He's awake," and most of the team walked away while I looked around confused. But the turn felt like I was turning back into my eyes, if that makes sense. As in I knew that the darkness were my closed eyelids and I'd be turning around into opening them. It was weird as hell. Before that I believed it was just blackness when you die. Now, well, I can't be so sure anymore. Strangely, this was the most comforting comment in a very depressing thread lol. 100% this is it. 1000s of NDEs, many from respected and credentialed people, give credence to this. Do most other people here just not know about all this, or not care? We are consciousness living out this human experience, as quantum mechanics suggests. When we die, we return to consciousness. NDEs are weird because 95 to 98% who die and then are awoken again experience just blackness and no memories, but the small percent of cases keep happening frequently enough that it's actually got even the most hardcore scientists interested.